So come back with me now. And so it is. I hope you're back here with me. What is that? I sometimes ask as I run into something very unfamiliar. What is that? Sometimes you encounter something and you just can't figure it out. You can't get a handle on it. You know it's familiar, but you can't quite give some clarity to it. Something like a doctor who might be examining a patient, and their malady is not a common one. It's a little bit unknown or a little bit beyond the scope of what happens every day. What is that? Says the doctor. Or the archaeologist who looks at a find and he sees that find and he says, what is that? It reminds me of something, but what is that? I suspect that's true of you, but it is true of me when I've said that about karma. What is that? Because it's a bit of an enigma to me. And so I want to do what the doctor and the archaeologist might do. I want to eliminate all of the things that it's not. And so eventually, when I can eliminate the things that it's not, maybe I can know the thing that it is. The law of karma, or cause and effect, is the third law that's given in Deepak Chopra's The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. This is what we're studying in our fall study here and in our study groups. We've studied first the law of pure potentiality and the law of giving, and now we're here at the law of karma. So what is karma? And we're going to discuss what it is not to start with. First of all, karma is not reward and punishment. It is not something I got because I was bad, so I'm being punished. This is a relic of my religious heritage, but it is not that. Nor is it, here's your reward. You've been good. Karma is not reward and punishment. It is not your lot in life, your fortune, your fate. Karma is not any of those. Karma is not God's will out there somewhere waiting for you to submit to it, or kismet. That karma is not. And for our consideration today, karma is not primarily about past and future lives. So what is karma then? Chopra begins this chapter with these words. Every action generates a force of energy that returns to us in like kind. What we sow is what we reap. Everybody's heard about sowing and reaping. I remember the verse that I memorized when I was a child. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Yes, karma is about an action. Karma, in fact, is about action and about the consequence that goes with that action. In Sanskrit, the word karma, which is where it comes from, means simply action. Action. This universal law that we're talking about today is about a cause and about an effect that it has. I learned about cause and effect in science class when I was young. Heat applied to a pot of water makes the water boil and produces steam. Cause and effect. But cause and effect is so much greater than that. As my friend Miriam, the librarian, I like to call her that, I like to think that she's a she. As she says, it is the force generated by a person's actions. So let's take a moment to picture karma if we can. One of the representations of karma that is particularly popular in Asian cultures is that of a lotus flower, or what when I grew up was a lily pad, or a water lily. So this lotus flower is a unique flower because it has, while it's blooming, still the seeds within the flower. And the seed is deemed to be cause, the flower to be effect. That lotus flower grows in water that is sometimes muddy and mucky, which indicates that we get to grow beyond the difficult circumstances of life. So that's one of the things that I look to when I picture karma. A seed that is planted is a cause that will have an effect. And if you've ever planted a seed, you know that it starts very small and it grows very large. But without the seed, there would be no plant. So seed and plant, seed and flower, cause and effect, action and consequence. We know that whatever we plant, if we plant a flower seed, a petunia seed, we're going to get a petunia. We plant a tomato seed, we're going to reap a tomato. Whatever we choose to plant, that's what we will reap. If we plant the seed of a weed, we will reap a weed. Eric Butterworth, one of my favorite Unity teachers, says this. He compares this cause and effect and uses the term compensation. It's kind of like an accounting sort of thing. When you work and you do a certain kind of work and you do it for so long, you've earned a certain amount of pay. You are compensated for that. Or when you're in someone's debt, the compensation for that is only to pay back the debt. So it's an accounting sort of thing. And here's what Butterworth has to say. In all ways, we receive exactly what we earn. We reap what we have sown in consciousness. The words of Christian scripture are also helpful as we picture what karma might be like. Listen to them. Judge not, that ye be not judged. Cause and effect. Sowing and reaping. And on the other side of the coin, give and it will be given to you. A good measure pressed down, shaken together, running over will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. Cause, effect, sow, reap. You have a bit of a picture now. It follows then that the actions that we take and the choices that we make are important. We are consummate choice makers. We make thousands of choices every day. One of the problems is that many of those choices, in fact, most of them, are unconscious choices. We don't think they're choices, they don't seem like it, but in fact they are. Allow me a little bit of a personal example here. I grew up the son of a Baptist minister. And my father would weekly get up on Sunday morning at 3 a.m. to finish off his sermon for the day. He had prepared for it somewhat during the week, but it was that 3 o'clock in the morning, that last bit of time just before Sunday morning service, that he needed to complete that. Well, he preached his sermon, sometimes okay, often lacking a little bit, but he preached it, and he came home to Sunday dinner. We called it dinner, even though it was at lunchtime. Sunday dinner. When Sunday dinner was done, he headed to the recliner. When he got to the recliner, he was done for the day. Absolutely exhausted. Interesting story, but it worked itself out in my life because I have that as a bit of an inheritance. Not only do I build my karma, I inherit my karma. I inherit the choices that I make, some of those unconscious choices. So I confess that I woke at 4 this morning to finish off this message today. I had prepared during the week, and I'm getting better at doing some of that preparing, but still, I didn't finish this message until this morning. I left it till the last minute. Throughout my life, that's been my pattern. That's been my choice that I've made repeatedly over and over again. I crammed for the test. I put the project off to the last moment and got it in just on time. Interestingly enough, it was on time and I passed. However, it was not my best effort. It was not what I was capable of. And it left me depleted. So today, after this message and this service, I will go home and I will probably find the recliner a bit depleted from this because of the pattern, the unconscious choice that I make in my life. I'm sure that you have some of those unconscious choices that you make in your life. Didn't seem like a choice to me when I first considered it, but in fact it is an unconscious choice. So what do we do with this? How do I address this proclivity, this pattern of unconscious choice? I am learning to do this, to witness, to choose to witness my choices. Not so much the conscious choices, but those unconscious choices, to bring them into my awareness, to witness them, to just observe them as a start. And that is a key important point in making conscious choice, is to bring those unconscious choices into awareness by observing them. So when I do that, the sheer act of bringing that into my awareness, of observing, brings it from the unconscious realm to a conscious realm. So in my choice making, I have that option to bring it into my awareness. Another way to become a conscious choice maker is to back up a step and choose my thoughts. Now, this is not an unfamiliar thing to us at Unity, because we talk about choosing our thoughts and how they create our reality. And in fact, we have a wonderful tool that we use called affirmations. And we use this tool to choose what our thoughts may be. In a sense, we crowd out some of that unconscious, unproductive thinking because we have chosen a thought or some thoughts that displace that pattern that hasn't worked for us. So you may do this by putting sticky notes on the bathroom mirror, something on the refrigerator to remind you, or you may take your morning walk and recite an affirmation over and over again. But it is a very powerful part of conscious choice making, to choose our thoughts, to affirm that we desire. Lastly, I want to talk about taking charge of our karma. So many times we think that karma is fate. We're just destined to have a certain result in our lives. But again, we said that's not what karma is. We have, as choice makers, we have the opportunity to take charge of our karma. And we haven't spoken much about it, but negative karma that we have sitting with us, maybe that has not yet we've not reached that karma, but it's waiting for us, almost like doomsday that we're waiting for. How do we work with that? And Chopra gives us a couple of ideas on how to do that. One, we can simply pay the karmic debt. Simply pay up. It's a little bit hard, a little bit tough on us, but we can do it that way. We also have the opportunity to transform or to transmute that karma. And what we do here is to take a karmic experience that we have, a karmic debt that's there waiting for us to pay. And we look at that with the intent of learning from it, and the intent of moving on and making other choices than the ones we made to produce that karmic debt. So in that choosing another and productive way, we begin to transform it. So here's an example. Say you cheated someone in the past. When you cheated them, you knew that, well, at least you knew later on, that probably you would experience some kind of a law as the cause producing an effect in your life. But instead of just accepting that you're going to pay that karmic debt, you chose in that cheating situation to do something about it, not only for yourself, but for the good of others as well. So perhaps you initiated a program with kids in school, a program teaching fairness, how important that is. Or maybe you took some people that were cheated, the ones who had been cheated. You befriended and assisted and empathized with them. You were a minister, in a sense, to them. So that karma, that karmic debt that you owed was transmuted into a new karma, as it was, that started from that place. It was spawned, and now you're headed in a different direction. And the whole dynamic of karma in your life then is changed. The third way that Chopra talks about taking charge of karma in your life, and that past karma that could mean some difficult things for you, is to absolutely transcend that karma. And here again, in unity, we have a way to do that. We, in fact, did a little bit of that before this message, and that is being in the silence, being in meditation. And I don't mean just those really brief times, but taking time for spirit to work within our lives, in the silence, in that inner place, in that place that doesn't seem to have a form or a shape, but really controls what our destiny is. There we transcend in ways that don't even have words, the karma, that negative karma that we don't have. So there's another way we can to take charge, we can use to take charge of our karma. We can look at our anticipated actions. Remember, karma being action. We can look at those anticipated actions, and we can do something about that. We can think about what impact will that action have on me or on those around me and those that are concerned with this potential action. And if we're able to do that, we can look at that action and we can get a sense of whether it's best for us to do that or not to do that. And here's how we get that sense. It's our body. Our body's really helpful to us in this. Our body will tell us whether that, in fact, is best for us to do or not. Now, we get sensations in our body. And when we put this intended action or this prospective action out in front and we listen with our body, it may be in our heart or in our gut, we will have a sensation. If we have a sensation of comfort, we know it's best to go ahead with that action. But if we have a sensation of discomfort, we know it is not best for us or for others concerned. So the body gives us a wonderful meter on whether an intended action, intended action is going to be best for us and all concerned or not. We simply have to hesitate to take the time to look at that intended action and to sense and to know whether it is best for us or not. Chopra says, when we choose actions that bring happiness and success to others, the fruit of our karma is happiness and success. So karma, stay in the present with us. Understand that the actions you've taken in the past and those that you take today will have consequences. What you sow, you will reap. Become a conscious choice maker. Witness your choices and choose your thoughts. And take charge of your karma as you remediate your past and intentionally consider the actions that you anticipate, sensing what is best for you and all of those who are concerned. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Neal. We all need to be reminded of action and consequence. And especially looking at